I dropped 5 pounds in the last 3 weeks, and this is exactly how I did it. Let's start with nutrition. I'm going to break down the 10 foods that I ate as well to achieve this. But what I started doing firstly was tracking food. I know I talk about this all the time, but twice a year, really on average, I'll track when I want to dial things in. I'm off to Brazil in like a couple of months' time, so I wanted to trim down, lose some body fat. And even though I'm already lean, I wanted to do that. I also wanted to reset my gut because I was eating more than I needed. So I've done this now, and instantly I started eating 20 to 30% less just by tracking food. What gets measured can get managed. Otherwise, you're just guessing. So that's even the level I'm at. I tracked for 6 years on or off. And by the way, I'm actually more muscular now as well, right? And I'll tell you what I did with training to achieve that. But I did that for 6 years on and off tracking. And even now, if I'm guessing what I'm eating without tracking, I'm still going to be, 300 to 500 calories out a day. I'm going to eat that much more, which adds up to like, let's say 500 calories more a day. That's an extra 3,500 calories a week, which equals a pound of fat. That's how much that works out, by the way, right? So I started tracking. I weigh in my food as well. It's one thing tracking food, using an app, for example, but actually weighing it. Now, this is not something you want to do forever, but if you want to tighten up for 3 or 4 weeks, weigh and track your food. It'll be a game changer. And then you look at it and you understand portion size then as well. If you've never weighed food on the scales before, you'll never really understand calories in terms of the portion of food you eat. You'll never really have any idea of the amount of calories you're having within that food if you've never done that. So weighing and tracking food. But here's the 10 foods that I ate, right? Just by doing that alone, like I say, more aware. And then what I did is I set myself a calorie target. This part's important. My maintenance calories are sitting at around about 3,900 to 4,000. Let's round out to 4,000. So for the first week, I started eating 3,400. I just tapered it down. And that was kind of easy-ish to do. So I would have some low days in the week, low calorie days. Like for me, this is a high calorie day for most though. I know you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of calories for a deficit. I'm lucky. It's a great problem to have. And yeah, so basically I would do 3,400 on average, but I would have 2,008, let's say some days, 2,900 in the week for a few days. And then I would have a couple of days on the weekend where I have, let's say, go up to maintenance, like 3,700 calories or 3,500. Maybe even 4,000 some days, but I'm averaging around about 3,300 right now. So that's how I done it. I undulate calories, and this is what I do with clients as well. It's better for your metabolism anyway. It's better psychologically as well because you can look forward to enjoying some foods that you want to have, or even if it's a little bit of alcohol here and there, you can look forward to that on the weekends because you've actually banked up the calories. That's always a strategy that I use with clients. It feels so much easier when you're doing that, and it's much easier to adhere to that way of doing things long term, even if you're not tracking. When you track and you get aware of the calories in the week and you bank more up for the weekend, then when you're not tracking, again, you're aware. So you're like, okay, I did this when I was tracking. I have a rough idea what calories are in these foods. I'll eat these foods in the week, and on the weekend, I can do X, Y, and Z, right? It's all about that flexibility. That's the only way you can get long-term success. So let's break down the 10 foods that I ate. So obviously, good old grass-fed beef, number one, right? Now, I've broken these foods down. I've done a few of these videos, but right now, they're probably similar to what they normally are. But in terms of the grass-fed beef, the reason why I eat that as my staple go-to, about 80% of the meat that I eat is grass-fed beef, is because I love it and it gives me most of the nutrients that I need in a nutshell. So in grass-fed beef, you've got essential proteins, essential fats, and minerals, essentially. Obviously some vitamins as well, but you've got what you need to survive, right? If all food was taken away from you and you just have beef, ideally grass-fed, you are going to be okay in terms of nutrient deficiencies. It wouldn't be ideal, but you're going to be okay. But more importantly, when it comes to being in a deficit, I enjoy eating beef. I never get bored of eating steak. Obviously, I can get away with a lot more calories than the average person. So with clients, for example, when they're eating steak, I like them to have the fatty cuts because that's where you're getting a lot of the essential fats which help with energy, hormones, things like CLA, which can help with like fat burning and stuff, although that's splitting hairs when you look at total calories being the most important thing. So that's really what I get clients to do. I get them to rotate the cuts. So they might be having like a ribeye or Scotch fillet or full fat ground beef or beef mince, a few days a week, and then they'll have some of the extra lean. If they want to eat more beef, they'll go to the extra lean beef, like 5% fat, for example, or they'll go for the leaner cuts of steak, like the eye fillet, or what are the other ones called? I forgot the names of them now in America and stuff, but the leaner cuts, which you can see, by the way, you can see the fat on the steak, right? But for me, I've been having, Scotch fillet steak and rump steaks, which are fatty, And I've also been having full fat beef mince and also super lean beef mince, which is like 5% fat. So I'll rotate that because, I like to have more added fats, which I'll get to as well. So I like to have the leaner cuts of beef sometimes so I can have some extra yogurt, for example, or I might want to have some extra avocado, those kind of things, right? So you got to be aware of those things. Number 2 is chicken thighs, and my secret little recipe, which I love lately. Now, chicken thighs have more calories than breasts, of course, but so chicken breasts are better for most if not as many people can get away with as many calories as me. But to be honest, most of my clients, they're fine eating chicken thighs and being in a deficit because, there's more calories in a chicken breast, but most of them enjoy eating thighs more, which is really important. When it comes to losing fat like I have now, I enjoy every meal I eat. It doesn't get boring. I'm going to break down like how I structure the meals. But yeah, that's key. So they enjoy eating chicken thighs more, and there's more fat in there, which gives them more energy anyway. But what I've been doing is mixing garlic and turmeric basically in a pan, fry it in a bit of ghee oil, chop it up, loads of garlic, salt, turmeric and garlic, and it tastes phenomenal, right? I've been really, really enjoying that. And I'll normally have, so for the first meal, I'll normally have the beef mince. I have beef liver as well. So that's the third food as well, is liver. And I actually had some chicken liver recently as well, which does have things like folic acid in there. It has less copper than beef liver. So it has unique nutrients in it, but beef liver is definitely better in terms of overall nutrients. But I have beef liver, so that's food number 3. And just to show you how I structure it, normally I'll have steak or beef mince, and then every other day I'll have some beef liver with that for meal 1, and I'll cook a load of it. Let's just say I have 600 to 700 grams, right, of meat, including, beef mince. What I've been doing lately as well, which I really enjoy, is mixing it all together. So sometimes I'll literally do all of them together on a plate because I don't get bored. It's just something I've done because it's just been easier for me because I've had the foods available. But I get clients to do this, right, where it's like a rotation. So I'll have, rump steak, I have some chicken thighs, I had some beef liver, and then some extra lean beef mince, right, all in one meal. So it's like a little medley, a little meat medley, you know what I mean? But I've had clients doing that with chicken, shrimp, for example, and maybe salmon, or chicken, beef, salmon, like all on one plate. I find particularly for whatever reason, females tend to get bored easier. So that's what my first meal will look like that. Every other day I'll have eggs, or most days I'll have eggs with that meal as well, fry it in ghee oil, and then probably about half avocado with that as well, and salt. And I break the fast as usual, right? I wouldn't recommend this, but I normally break the fast with dark chocolate, right? So let's get into number 4, right? So we've done 3: beef, grass-fed beef, beef liver, and chicken thigh, and then dark chocolate, right? So I have this because I enjoy the taste of it. It's completely emotional. It's not true hunger when I eat it. I'm aware of that. But I enjoy eating it, and I'll have that to break the fast. Normally about 10, 11 a.m. I'll have that whilst I'm drinking my coffee in the morning because I don't have my first meal until about 1 p.m.-ish, right? So I'll do 2 meals. So I'll do that, though, to break the fast. I enjoy eating it, and it makes it feel easier for me, right? Believe it or not, to be in a deficit. Now, if I really wanted to shred and get to that next level of leanness, will I cut the dark chocolate out if I wanted to get shredded? Probably yes, because it gets addictive for me. And also it's just like loads of calories, right? It's like 300, I have like 50, 60 grams. That's like 400 calories. So that's food number 4. Number 5, going all over the place with the order here, but sardines, right? I like to throw them in for nourishment more than anything. Omega-3s, calcium, iodine, iron is a great source of iron as well. And I'll tend to throw that in probably every 3 days on average. So I'll have like a couple of tins. I'll probably have about 4 to 5 tins a week. Now, again, it's a lot of calories, per calorie per protein is actually not the best for the average person who wants to be in a deficit. But for me, I do it purely for health. And I enjoy eating sardines as well. I'll have that with some avocado. Yesterday, I just had it whilst I was waiting for my beef to cook, a tin of sardines, or I'll mix it with some avocado. Tastes great. Or some avocado and eggs. Mix it all together. Love it, especially if I'm in a rush. It's a quick, easy meal and nutrient dense, right? And then also I've got, what have I got here then? Berries, banana. Yeah, okay. So let's get into the more, I guess, exciting foods. Let's go for the animal-based one, right? So whole yogurt. I haven't been having Greek yogurt lately. I've been having just normal whole organic yogurt. And again, this is more of a nourishment thing because I get B vitamins. I get, again, a good source of calcium, a complete protein source. And yeah, there's loads of nourishment you get from dairy, of course. Dairy and red meat are at the top, right? When you look at essential nutrients, they're at the top, those two. But I have it mainly because it's just, again, it feels sustainable to be in a deficit. So normally in the week, this is what I've been doing, right? I'll have that first meal I just mentioned and some dark chocolate. Then in the evening, I'll have, for example, just then I had chicken thighs, right? Literally, it was only like 200 grams maybe that I'd already cooked for that first meal with the garlic and stuff. Literally just ate that. And then I had my yogurt. So I had like 500 grams of yogurt, whole organic yogurt. And this is my staple go-to evening meal. So this is what we are now, like number 6 or number 5. So whatever number we're on now, with the food, yogurt. So then I'll have like fruit then. Let's go to like number 6 or wherever one. So fruit is frozen berries. So high in fiber, low in sugar. I have that, mix that with my yogurt. And then food number 7 or 8 or whatever we're on, I'll have a banana then as well. So what I do is I get bananas fresh and I just chuck them in the freezer. Then I like them frozen. So I'll literally have, like I just had, like chicken thighs first, whole yogurt, frozen berries, like 250 grams, a lot of them, about 250 grams of banana. So a lot of banana chopped up in there. And then about 20 grams of honey, raw honey that I'll have. And I'll mix that together and it tastes phenomenal. And I wouldn't recommend that to most people. If you're going to have yogurt, I recommend having Greek yogurt because it's higher in protein. And if you're someone who's trying to be in a deficit, you likely won't be able to have or it'll be harder to stay in that deficit, hit protein and have full fat yogurt. So you might want to have low fat, right? So that's my thing in the evening, right? And I always look forward to that. I enjoy it. And I'm getting obviously vitamins. I'm getting polyphenols and anthocyanidins in the berries as well, right? Antioxidants. It's a superfood, right? So that's always a win. And then, like I said, honey as well. And I think that's all 5 foods there, and avocado. So number 1, we got grass-fed beef. Then we got beef liver. And we got chicken thighs, eggs, avocado, dark chocolate, berries, banana, whole yogurt, honey, and sardines. That's 11 foods, right? I think that's 11 foods. So I wanted to read that list off to you because that pretty much covers most things I need in terms of nutrients, right? You look at essential proteins, essential fats, minerals and vitamins, micronutrients. I'm getting pretty much everything I need with those foods. But when it comes to being in a deficit, I enjoy eating those foods, like I said, right? It doesn't feel hard for me. It feels easy. And I have plenty of like fats. I'm having a decent amount of carbohydrates as well to support energy and training. So it works for me. But what works for me is not going to work for the majority of people. Like if the majority of my clients ate this food, this wouldn't really be a deficit. I have some clients actually where this amount is a deficit. But for most people, especially people who just weigh less than me, I weigh a lot, right? I've got a lot of body mass. I weigh like 94 kilos. I can get away with a lot of food and I have a lot of muscle on my body, right? So that's the key thing. That's why I always talk about this. Fat loss needs to be the byproduct. The reason I can get away with all of this food is because I've spent so many years building muscle. And because muscle tissue is expensive, it costs my body a lot of calories to keep muscle tissue on my body, like I always talk about. So also I do plenty of steps as well, right? So that's the key thing people overlook. You know, if you're trying to be in a deficit, you have to move as much as you can. I got a stand-up desk, so I say standing. I don't sit down a lot, but I walk at least 10K steps on average every single day. And that makes it much easier then, right? It's very simple. When you're moving more, you're burning more. It's not complicated, right? So that's just a non-negotiable for me. If I was moving less, I would find it much harder to stay in that deficit. And with training, why I'm looking more muscular and pumped and stuff now as well, is I've got more structure with my training. So I've started put together another program for myself. And this training phase is something I haven't done for a while, right? So it's novelty. So what I'm doing is I'm doing high reps. I'm doing like 12 to 20 reps on average, right? And I'm only having like 30 seconds rest. So I'm doing like a drop set on every body part if I'm in a rush. Full body 3 times per week, that amount of reps, right? Each session is taking me 45 minutes. I try to get it done in 45 minutes and that covers every body part. I can get it done really quick when I'm having minimal rest, but it's pretty hardcore. I only started that a week ago. So that's made me look more muscular and more pumped. But I've just simply been making sure I stay consistent every day. And I've added a little bit more volume just by doing an extra band session or an extra workout in the gym a week. And that's very simple. And that's the best way to do it when you're in a deficit and you're trying to retain muscle. You know, some people can build muscle in a deficit, but it's a lot harder. So your minimum goal should be to retain muscle because you look better. You can get away with more calories. And, you know, you just don't look good. Like it's body composition. It's not about losing weight. I mentioned the weight because I have lost weight, right? But it's about the body fat. I've trimmed down. I can see it. I can see it in my stomach, my midsection. I look tighter. I feel better because being in a deficit is way more than just looking good, right? It's giving my gut a break, right? When you're in a surplus, it's a lot more stress on the body because your body's constantly trying to break down food. So it's been working wonders for me. And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing next, right? So now I've got 2 months now until Brazil. I'm doing this, like I'm already shredded, to be honest, right? But I want to get next level shredded, right? And we got Brazil now in 2 months time, just under 2 months time, I think it is. So what I'll be doing now is This is why I always say to people and to clients, right? It's like there's only so far you can go in a deficit. So for me now to keep losing more, I have to bring my calories down a bit lower, right? So that's what I'm going to aim to do over the next month. And I'll document that. I'll keep you posted on it as well, because I haven't done this for a while. I haven't really challenged myself by being in the calorie deficit for a while now. So all I'll have to do is taper the calories down to, 3,000, right? So I'm averaging about 3,300. If I bring them down to about 3,100 now, there's still a decent deficit. But remember, my maintenance calories will drop now. My basal metabolic rate will slow down. So what was maintenance calories for me, like 4,000, will drop down now. So let's just say it's probably dropped over the last 3 weeks already to like 3,007, 3,800, which means I've got to bring the calories down lower, right? As I drop weight, my maintenance calories drop with it. You know what I mean? So that's how it works, my basal metabolic rate. So you got to bear that in mind. That's why reverse dieting for everyone is important. Not important, it's essential for most people. You have to go through a phase where you're focusing on building and increasing your calories and doing that strategically. In terms of my carbs and fats, I'm probably averaging around about 150 grams of carbs a day. The only carbs I have is fruit and honey. That's all I'm having. Not having rice anymore. I cut the white rice out because that was irritating my gut. It was fine before, but for some reason, it was probably because I was in a surplus, like I said. It was irritating my gut. So my only carbs is fruit, like I mentioned, and honey. That's it. And that's about 150 grams. So protein intake is probably around about 275 grams. So high, I weigh, it's probably like almost 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. And yeah, simple as that, really. So I think that's all I had to say, ladies and gents. And intermittent fasting as well makes it easier I find it just easier to be in a deficit when I'm eating in a smaller window, right? That's another simple thing as well there. Look, ladies and gents, right? If you want to lose fat and keep it off, you've got to know where your metabolism's at. Like I was just talking, I've got a metabolic assessment, which I offer this audience for free. So it gives you a snapshot of your health and it gives you a plan on exactly what you need to do next for your body type to build muscle, lose fat, and optimize your metabolic health. And all you got to do to get this for free and get a free metabolic score that comes with it, by the way, out of 100, is click the link beneath in the show notes to get that for free. All right. Speak soon.